And welcome Senior Academy to our first Senior Academy meeting of the 2021. Oh, that sounds confusing when you say it that way, but 2020-2021 school year. And I'm really grateful to be with each and every one of you, even though it's across a computer screen. Welcome to my classroom. I've attempted to design it like the very first schoolroom I taught in. Actually, it does look a lot like a schoolroom I taught in when I first began. It was a 120-year-old room in an old schoolhouse down in Mobile, Alabama. Looks quite a lot like it, green walls and everything, and a chalkboard. We're going to spend today looking at the themes of leadership, and I want to go ahead and share our presentation with each of us today. So already have said this, but I'll say it again. First meeting of the school year for our Senior Academy. This is a fantastic time for each and every one of us to celebrate where we are, both as seniors and juniors. Upperclassmen carries with it an incredible privilege of having made it through 2 or 3 years prior to this of high school. And for many of us as well, the opportunity available to us as juniors and as seniors. And so hopefully in your house you are chanting seniors if you are a member of our class of 2021. In fact, do it so loud that your parents say knock it off, your grandparents, whoever's at home with you. And if you're a part of the class of 2022, welcome as well. Junior year is a great year. Great opportunities lie ahead for all. Today I want to begin with a video called Make an Impact, and I'll let it speak for itself and certainly challenge us to think through the ways in which we think this applies to us.
When we're laying on our deathbed, you're not going to worry about how much money you had, how much power you had, how much prestige. You're going to see that that was all game, that was all an illusion. The only thing that's going to matter is the impact you had on other people's lives.
We are all on a separate journey. But the beautiful thing about our life here on this earth is at my funeral, they ain't going to talk about my success. They're going to talk about who Nick was and how Nick lived and how Nick loved and encouraged.
Success is incredibly important, but even more important than success, it's having an impact. It's knowing you haven't walked the planet in vain. It's knowing that because you've been here, you've blessed lives, you've developed people, and you have made the world a better place.
The effect you have on others is the most valuable currency there is. Everything you gain in life will rot and fall apart, and all that will be left of you is what was in your heart.
Life is a mirror, and life gives us not what we want. Life gives us who we are. When you were born, you cried while the world rejoiced. Live your life in such a way that when you die, the world cries while you rejoice.
So I want to frame our meeting today around a question, a challenge, is how will each of you be leaders in service this year? I'm going to share a couple examples of students in our community who have found different ways to lead. And I want to emphasize different ways because not all leaders are the same, not all leaders should be the same, and each of us can find different ways in which we choose to lead. I want to begin with Sage Jones, who took part in the Stapleton United Neighbors name change process this summer. So building off of the momentum that we created, and I would say that pretty intentionally, we created at DSST Montview, and our student leaders, the members of our Colorado Youth Congress, the students who helped create the momentum, the awareness, and the will to make a change to a name that carries with it a racist history. Sage took part in a panel this summer alongside a few other students from the neighborhood, including a student from Northfield High School, as well as Conservatory Green and a number of other adults who debated, managed, and figured out a process in which the name of Stapleton was officially changed to Central Park. So a shout out to Sage for his work this summer in that form of leadership. Kanani Ibarra, 12th grade student, fantastic person, also is the leader of our one of our student leadership groups, and a student who took part this summer in a series of protests. And I ran into Kanani at the DSST student protest in June, but prior to that was actually taking part in a protest that took place in downtown Denver after the murder of George Floyd, which I think it would be remiss for me to not also mention that just this week there was a series of continued tragedies, an attempted murder of a young man in front of his children in Kenosha, Wisconsin, a town that I grew up just about 20 minutes south of, Jacob Blake, who currently is in critical condition, and then the murder in Louisiana of Trayford Pellerin, again at the hands of police. And Kanani took part in these protests alongside many of her classmates and peers, and some staff members as well. And in fact, in one of the protests was actually pepper sprayed in the face and had to pour milk over her face to put the burning sensation off to the side. And a picture of that was captured. I'll let Kanani choose to share that with the community if she would like. But a powerful moment and a powerful commitment to her to continue to show up and make change in the community and to contribute to the efforts to bring awareness and momentum and real push for meaningful change to the way in which police operate within our communities. Ben Taylor, 11th grade student, last spring participated in the Project Create, which was a series of opportunities given to students across the city of Denver to take a challenge and find a solution to it. And in this case, the challenge was to find a way to utilize 3D printing technology to create something that could benefit others. And could potentially help to innovate. And Ben created a rocket that flew over 100 meters into the sky and also had a self-propelled launch to drop a parachute from it, which worked. And Ben won this past spring's Project Create in I think the 4th week, and was another example of a form of leadership, finding opportunity, developing new ideas and innovations to hopefully help and benefit the future of, in this case, perhaps aerospace engineering. Adele Bauer, 12th grade student, president of our Anti-Defamation League. Adele also insisted that I do not just shout her out alone, but also recognize that the peers on the ADL with her, students who are now in our 10th, 11th, and 12th grade years, are integral parts of the Anti-Defamation League, and due to her work and the work of the ADL, our school was designated as an ADL school, a no place for hate school. And would also be the first to say that this is just a starting place and that the work of truly building towards inclusion and belonging has a long way to go, but we've started a strong foundation due to the work of Adele and her fellow classmates in the ADL. And then Ethan James, 12th grade student and aspiring ophthalmologist who has been interning over the past summer and I believe summers, and has helped develop a technology that is able to accurately identify issues within the eye up to a 96% success rate, and utilizing his skills in computer technology and his passion for helping people understand the health of their eyes and the potential health implications beyond just eyes that it could lead to. Ethan is doing great work in that field, and that's another form of leadership that I wanted to highlight today. So I wanted to share this idea that we are all endowed with different kinds of gifts for different kinds of services. And I would challenge each of us to recognize that maybe what we see as a leadership quality in one person may not be that leadership quality for us. But we each have strengths, we all have strengths, and we all have ways in which we can utilize those strengths to help solve problems. And whether you're leading one other person or leading a large group of 500, 1,000 or more, It is still a form of leadership, and all of us, I believe, are called to do that. So what are some ways that you can do that? Well, certainly Ms. Gibbs sends a really informative email every week with a ton of information about student leadership opportunities as well as scholarships. Please read the memo, especially as upperclassmen, really critical place to look for important updates. Our school will also be sharing updates about internal opportunities, clubs, extracurriculars, leadership groups, and Kanani's Club Global Minds, for example, is just one of the many forms of leadership groups that our school has created in just the last couple of years. Also, if you see a challenge, if you see a problem and you have an idea of how you might think to solve it, reach out to a staff member, bring that up to me, share that, hey, there's an issue here, I'd like to find a way to lead and help others to solve that problem alongside me. So we have to work together. Leaders find ways to bring in people who they may not always want to work with and to compel others to follow along and to share the vision for what a better future might look like. And I know each of us here has the abilities to do that. I want to end with just some quick updates about our schedule. Today you'll see that you have classes this morning from 9 to 10:55, 3 of them, periods 4, 5, and 6, each about 35 minutes. And after that, you have an advisory check-in. If you haven't had one already, your advisor should have scheduled those with you. And if for some reason you don't know, just double check with him or her about when that would be. Dismissal today at 1, and then tomorrow we'll move into our regular schedule, seeing all 6 of your classes, starting at 8:30 with a quick attendance and morning meeting and or advisory check-in. So just so you know, Monday and Friday we'll have our whole school morning meetings and or academy grade level, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday your advisors will be checking in with you one-on-one over the course of 2 weeks. Really critical though that if you're not checking in with them that morning, you still go onto that advisory link and you type the words "I'm here," and that way we'll be able to account for attendance on days where you're not doing morning meetings. And we will be making phone calls every day after advisory home to make sure that if you didn't show up, we understand what's going on. With all of that said, that brings our meeting to a close, and I just want us to end with the last kind of challenge, rethinking about that challenge we started with today, is how can each of us be leaders in service? And I do believe each of us can be. I believe each of us should be compelled to be, and we're all here together to work towards the goal of leading towards greater equity, greater belonging, greater inclusivity in this community. And I believe we have more than enough of the right people in this class and in our staff to be able to help do that work. And we just look forward to a great year ahead. Welcome, senior class, senior academy classes of 2021 and 2022. So great to be with you, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Thank you all so very much.